Yo guys, Kristen here. Welcome to my stamina DK build video. This build is called Pure Aggression because it's kind of like a build that I would say encourage you to be aggressive. So the more aggressive you are, the higher damage you have, the higher penetration you have. So it's a really aggressive build, but overall I would say this build is so balanced. It's really powerful. I would say it's even one of the most powerful builds I ever created for Stam DK because I almost can never find a weakness for this build. I'm not even joking. This build is so powerful that I dare to say that, because usually when I make builds, I wouldn't say the build is the best build in or this or that, but this build is almost perfect, almost. There's only maybe one tiny weakness I'll tell you later, but let's hop straight into the sets. Okay, now let me adjust this. Okay, so like usual, you need your Bloodspawn Monster Helm. This is the most important monster helm for Stam DK. I'll say for 99% of the builds you need to use Bloodspawn for Stam DK. So I'm using Impenetrable with a weapon enchantment, heavy on the head and heavy on the shoulders with a tri-stat enchantment and a penetration. Doesn't really matter the tri-stat. I took this from my Templar actually, I think. Okay, so this is the monster helm. And on the body we are using Will Inheritance. There are 3 options you can use, but for this build I went for Will Inheritance because Will Inheritance is a set that has no cooldown, which means you can proc it every time. So there's basically what it does is when you do damage, all sorts of damage, dot damage, ground AoE, or even direct damage, there's a 10% chance for you to increase your weapon damage by 391. Okay, so since we have a lot of dots, I would say this is really good for us, and it complements our third set really well as well. So I'll show you the third set later, but we are using the Will Inheritance on the body, on the legs, and on the feet. So this is a heavy build. We are using 5 heavy and 2 medium. So we are using Impenetrable, heavy on the body with tri-stat enchantment on the legs with Impenetrable as well, and Impenetrable on the feet as well with heavy, with a maximum stamina glyph. Other than that, we will be using the axe Will Inheritance. So we have a source to proc bleed, because bleed is quite powerful in this patch since everybody is boosting their physical resistance and physical and magical resistance, so bleed will penetrate through that. You can use axe, you can use sword, you can use maul, you can use anything you like, but for me I prefer axe because axe can proc bleed, which is a dot which can apply Will Inheritance even more often. And we'll be using sword and board as our main bar, our main damaging bar, Nernhorn trait with poison, and I'm using shield. You can use sturdy shield or impenetrable, both are really good with maximum stamina enchantment. On the axe we'll be using Nernhorn as well. The main reason why we are going for Nernhorn for this patch is because DK got a small buff from where is it? Yeah, this part here. Minor brutality is not 5%, it's 10% this patch, so that is quite a good increase, 5% increase weapon damage, which is quite nice. That's why I slightly prefer to use Nernhorn for this build. The poisons, there are different kind of poisons. I'll go through them later, but mainly you can use, where are they, my poisons? Yeah, okay, I don't have it now, but you can use double dot poisons, or you can use this poison, which is one of my favorite poison for this patch, because mobility is a problem now. That's why having this immobilization poison is really good. So you can give you 2.4 seconds of immune CC immunity, and people can't root you while the poison proc, then you can do a lot of damage with this. Gives you a bit health back to do a bit of poison damage, which is another reason why this poison is good with Will Inheritance. Or you could use, if you don't like this poison, you can use double dot poison, which is really nice as well, can proc Will Inheritance even more often. And the third set, so we are using Will Inheritance on all the weapons, and the third set we'll be using is, yeah, before I mentioned that, I'm using weapon enchantment on the axe, so that with everything procced, I will get about 4k weapon damage on my sword and board bar, and 4.2k more or less on our 2-hand bar, which is quite nice. And yeah, the third set we'll be using is the 2-Fang Snake set. This set is really, I say, underrated in my opinion. You can farm this from Sanctum Ophidian. What I did is, obviously I got the rings from Veteran, while when it's daily, when it was weekly, I did it. But if you want to farm it properly, if you want to farm it like just normally, you can just go to Cracklon, you type looking for man, you be the tank, because it's really hard to find a tank. You play as a tank. It's really easy to tank the dungeon, so you just go for normal, and then what you can get is you can get all the blue jewelries. You just upgrade it to purple like I did. I got a blue necklace and upgrade it to purple. So that is what you could do. And yeah, the other problem is I don't think you can find any impenetrable trait from that trial. So you need to change the traits to impenetrable, like what I did here. Okay, so we are using because this is a medium armor build, so I'm using it on the hands and on the waist, both impenetrable, both with maximum stamina enchantment. And we need to 5-piece this set because the duration is only 3 seconds, so you want to keep it up always. And I'm using it on jewelry. As you can see, everything robust with 1 reduced cost, 1 weapon damage, and 1 stamina recovery. In non-CB campaign, you could consider to put this weapon damage to cost reduction, but for me, I think this is good enough. I didn't even change anything when I go to non-CP campaign. It works so well. In CP, non-CP campaign, battlegrounds, you can even use this build in if you are playing in a raid, a big ass raid. You can just drop sword and board and just use dual wheel, and then you can use this build as well, because this build will provide so much penetration, so much damage for you. Okay, so that is the setup. Yeah, I mentioned earlier you could, if you want to, you could use Fury or could use 7 Legion. I'll show you. You should know what is Fury by now. Fury is a set that gives you about, if you buffed up fully, it gives you about 900 more or less, 900 to 1000 weapon damage. But yeah, you need to take constant crit damage for it to work. And 7 Legion is another set that is applied while after you take damage. Like for 10% chance, you can gain about 480 weapon damage for 5 seconds and heal you for 1.3k, which is pretty decent. Has a 2-second cooldown. You can use these 2 sets instead of Will Inheritance, because these 3 sets is the so-called Holy Trinity of stam decay, because you need to use one of these sets usually in a 1vx build. But for me, I prefer to use Will Inheritance because it doesn't have a cooldown, and you can, if in an intense battle, especially against multiple opponents, you can keep this at 100% uptime. I'm not even joking. And as for Two Fang Snake, it's even easier to keep this at 100% uptime because mainly because we are running 2 dots. I'll go through the skills later, but I'll just tell you what could proc all these sets. So you need to do damage to apply Will Inheritance and Two Fang Snake. There's 1 dot Noxious Breath, there's 2 dot Venomous Claw, there's a 3rd dot Volatile Armor, and there's a 4th damage applying, not dot but a return damage from Volatile Armor. So every time an enemy damage you with a direct attack damage, you return a magic 674 magic damage from Volatile Armor. So this will help you with all those consistent damage output to your enemy. That's why in an outnumber fight, those 2 sets that I mentioned earlier, Will Inheritance and Two Fang Snake, they'll almost have a 100% uptime. For Two Fang Snake, it's guaranteed 100% uptime. For Will Inheritance, it depends on the situation, but mostly you can get 70-80% uptime easily, no problem. So those are the 3 dots we have, and obviously you have your poisons as well. So there's another dot as well, and your poison status effect as well. That's why you can just apply a lot of pressure, a lot of constant ticking damage, you know, for you to maximize these 2 sets. That's why I love using these 2 sets for this patch, and it's really, really powerful. Alright, now the sets are done. I will go through the tooltip and stat sheet really quickly. So let me just buff up. I apply 2 dots on my enemy, I do a light attack. You can see 4.1k, and then on the back bar is 4k weapon damage. Yeah, so fully buffed up weapon damage is 4k on the sword and board bar, and 4.1 or 4.2k on the 2-hand bar. And our crit if I use a crit potion, depending on situation, because sometimes I switch around my potion quite often. So let's say if I use a crit potion, it's 39%. Without a crit potion, it's about 30-31% more or less. Let me just buff that really quickly again. Stamina is decent, 34k, 35k or so. Health is about 24k in Citadel. Magicka is 11k, which is nice. Stamina recovery 1.6k, which is actually quite decent for a heavy armor build, because we have a lot of sources to gain back stamina. Actually, I will just go through everything, since this is a DK build. You need to know. The first thing you can gain stamina back is from applying poison status effect. So we have a lot of sources, or a lot of poison damage sources. We have the first skill, the second skill, and we have our poisons. So you see it's already applied to this, the poison status effect is already applied to the target skeleton. So that is how easily you can gain back, how much is it? 500? Yeah, 500 stamina every 5 seconds. That is about, yeah, 200 stamina recovery, more or less. The second source you can gain back stamina is by using your fragmented shield. When you use this, there's another passive as well. I know this is the basics, but I just want to go through it. So when you use Edenheart ability, you gain 1k stamina. So while using fragmented shield, you gain another 1k stamina. And the third source is from my class, because I am, for my race, sorry, because I am a red guard. So every 5 seconds I can get back about 800 stamina, which is more or less 180 or so stamina recovery. So you add that up, 180 plus 200 plus another 1000, more or less. Yeah, you can basically, you have 2000 plus stamina recovery easily for this build. Oh, one more thing, we are heavy armor as well. So heavy armor, you can receive another where is it, constitution. So every 4 seconds you restore 100 stamina and magicka while you take damage per piece. So current bonus is 541 every 4 seconds. That is another 120 more or less stamina. Actually, sorry, 240 stamina recovery. So you add that up, everything, your stamina recovery is actually really sweet on this build. And since we are heavy armor build, if you do heavy attack, you gain back a lot of stamina as well. So that is how you sustain on this build. Now back to the stats, I need to show you the stamina resistance is very high, 27k spell resistance, and physical resistance is of 27k as well. Overall, just really good stats. We are not using any defensive sets like brass or what. Yeah, I need to mention as well, since we are using Bloodspawn, you need to add another 6000 when you're under pressure. You add another 6000. Actually 27 plus 6000 is 33k. We are at a cap. Holy shit, we are at a cap, physical resistance cap. It's so nice. That's why I feel so tanky. And our crit resistance is 2.9k, which is extremely high as well. The best part about this build is not only we have such good stats, we have really high penetration as well. So if you look at the penetration, it's really low, right? 2.8k. That's nothing. You need to add this major debuff, major factor. So your penetration is, wait, why is it higher now? Okay, I don't know why is it higher, but anyways, we have 3.6k penetration. You need to add that another 5k, so it's 8k, and 8k you need to add another 4.2k if I'm not mistaken from Two Fang Snake. 4.2k is 8k plus 4, it's about close to 13k, 12k, 13k penetration, which is actually really high. So like light armor classes totally have 0 armor, medium armor classes has only like, I don't know, usually they have 15k resistance, more or less 15-16k resistance. So there will be like really low penetrate, you can just penetrate most of their physical resistance. That's why this build is so powerful. Yeah, I think that's about it for the stats. I can show you the tooltip, but I need to really without fully buff, actually it's about 9k without the weapon enchantment damage. So it's about 9k tooltip for heroic slash. It's maybe 9.2, 9.3k fully buffed up, more or less. Okay, now to the poisons and potions. The potions I'll be using are actually quite a lot. Sometimes I'll use detect potion with major savagery with crit, or sometimes I'll be using the speed potion. Yeah, I need to mention the weakness of this build is mobility. We don't have expedition, any source of expedition. That's why if you are getting chased by a lot of people with horses, most likely you will die unless you have an invincible potion. I mean a lot of people, like in 10 people, okay? It's really depending on the situation. Sometimes I'll use this potion when I'm running away, when I need to run away to a choke point, you know, to a tower or something. I'll use this speed potion, so I get immune to knockback, I get expedition, and I get stamina back. I can just sprint all the way, and I just use wings to reflect any range damage. If I am fighting on a ground battle, like I know how many enemies I'm fighting, it's a situation where I'm kiting around the area, I'm not running away from them. I'll use this crit potion. You get immune to knockback, you get major savagery, and you get stamina. This is a really powerful potion. Okay, invincible potion is just for you to run away from Zergs. And you have your lingering health as well, so you get back every second, you get back 1000 health. You get major vitality as well. That's why this potion is really powerful in non-CP campaign. Because you need to remember you have major mending from your skill, from your igneous, and you get major vitality. It's 60% increased healing, insane. So if you are fighting like a dot build or like a bleed build, I will use lingering health. And there's another optional potion, speed potion, so you get back health and you gain expedition, which is quite nice in non-CP campaign. In battleground, sometimes I'll use this potion, especially when you're like carrying a sigil or something like that. I'll use this potion. Okay, as for the food, I'll be using the Atrium Takeaway Broth. I think this is the best in slot food for most of the stamina classes. Unless you are using Bone Pirate, then you need to use Dubious. As for the poisons, I'll be using... Yeah, there are 3 poisons, maybe I'll usually only use double dot poisons or this escapist poison, like I mentioned earlier. You immobilize your target and gives you immune CC for 2.4 seconds and do a small poison damage on your enemy. Or you could use this one in non-CP campaign. For 3.5 seconds you gain 238 stamina every second. So really up to you. I'll usually switch it around with all these 3 poisons. Potions. I need to mention the Warrior. We're using Warrior Mundus Stone. I think this is the best Mundus Stone at the moment for most of the DK builds, because since minor brutality got buffed, you don't need to be a werewolf. Doesn't really matter. ESO plus doesn't really matter as well. So what else? I think that's about it for the poisons and potions. And Mundus Stone race, you can use any stamina race, but for me I prefer Red Guard. It's just overall a really good sustain race and a really good race for stamina DK, in my opinion. You can use Orc, you can use anything you like. I just like Red Guard. Okay, now to the skills. So there are a lot of changes for this build. We are not running any cup closer. The main reason is because I want to use Heroic Slash, and if you use Heroic Slash you need to use Noxious Breath, because Noxious Breath will give you the major fracture debuff. So you have Reverse Slice, you execute Noxious Breath, your debuff, your dot, to enable you to proc Bioinheritance, and for you to just make sure that you have 100% uptime on Two Fang Snake. And another dot to help you with that as well, Venomous Claw is a really cheap dot, really powerful dot. Volatile Armor is another dot as well, and obviously gives you your resistance. And Volatile Armor is really important, is because you get I think it's 12%. 12% healing receive. So you need to keep this volatile armor 100% with 100% uptime in a battle. Forward momentum for you to break away from snares, give you major brutality, and give you a small dot hot heal over time. And take flight is my preferred ultimate because we don't have a gap close. You need to use take flight for this build because sometimes people will, especially in CB campaign, Nightblades will roll like some monkeys left and right. You need to use take flight to break their rolling, because it will just penetrate through roll. Unless they are too far away, then they will just roll through your take flight. Heroic Slash is my preferred DPS skill, mainly because I just feel like we need snares for this patch. Snares is really powerful. Snares are really powerful because we are not running a gap closer. That's why I'm using poisons like this one to immobilize my target, because you somehow need to make sure your enemy is not running away too far, you know, like especially a sorcerer, they can streak. You need snares to slow them down. And Heroic Slash is such a good skill because it gives you minor meow, reducing their target the target damage by 15%, which is quite nice, and has a 12 seconds duration, which is really nice as well. And you gain, the best part is you gain major heroism. So we have so much sources from to gain ultimate. You can gain it from your passive, your Edenheart passive. Every 6 seconds you can gain 3 ultimate. You gain every 1 second, every 1.5 seconds you gain another ultimate, and you gain from Bloodspawn as well. Bloodspawn is, I think it's 14, yeah, 14 ultimate every 6 seconds, which is insane. And your passive gaining ultimate every 1 second, you gain 3 ultimate from your, just inherently. That's why overall you can, your ulti, you can just pop ulti after ulti so for really long duration. That's why this build is so powerful. Reward Bash for you to apply major defile. We put some points into our CP, so it's 39%, which is really sweet. Your CC skill as well. This is a flex spot. You can use Reflective Plate, which is I prefer to use because it can deroot you and de-snare you. But depending on your enemy, if you're fighting a lot of Nightblades that are not using range, basically if you're fighting classes that are not using any range skill, I think Flames of Oblivion is definitely better. It gives you major savagery and gives you a decent amount of damage. So if I just buffed up really quickly, you can see it's about 6.5k. If you fully buffed up, it's about 7k plus damage, fire flame damage, which is quite nice. Flames of Oblivion. So depending on your situation, open world, definitely go for Reflective Plate, but in Battlegrounds maybe you could definitely consider Flames of Oblivion. Fragmented Shield, it's must have as well. Give you major mending for 5.4 seconds, which is really nice. And Reserving Vigor is your heal. And my preferred ultimate is Spell Wall. You could use something like a Corrosive Armor, but I don't think it's that good because we have so much penetration. Corrosive Armor doesn't really matter anymore. And Shield Ultimate is a lot cheaper compared to Corrosive. Okay, so those are the skills. Now I will show you how you fight your enemy. So since we don't have gap closer, usually you just want to do a vigor before you go in, do a heavy attack. First thing you want to do is preferably you want to Heroic Slash your enemy. But if they are a Nightblade, then you want to always go in, start off with dots so you can break their cloak if they're cloaking, stuff like that. So you want to Heroic Slash once, you can go to your back bar, light attack, apply your dots, apply all your dots, and then go to your front bar, CC, and then go into lead. The main reason why you want to apply your dots first, right, is because firstly you want to make sure you apply your weapon damage enchantment on your front bar. So you do your light attack, you apply your weapon damage enchantment, and then you can go to the back bar, you CC them, and then go into lead. Usually that is the most basic combo. You can do ton of damage. Maybe your leap wouldn't kill them, but after you leap, they are under so much pressure already. That's why this is a basic combo you need to master. Yeah, it's more or less the same, to be honest. Stam DK, you just always want to make sure your vigors are, when you're fighting your enemy, you don't just stand there and just do like that. You move around in a circle, you move around, you surround them, because really important for this build we have root and we have snares. We have 60% movement speed snare, and we have a 2.4 second route. So you always want to move around to make sure your enemy can't target you easily, and then you CC them and then go into lead. Usually that is what I will use. There's another thing you need to remember as well. As for your poisons, if you are using a double dot poison, obviously you want to try to, if your enemy is a good player, obviously you don't want to just spam your leap, because they won't die, they will just heal through your leap. You want to wait for your poisons to proc. And then when your poison procs, because I'm using this poison now, it doesn't proc on a target dummy, because you can't immobilize your target dummy, so it doesn't really matter. So after your poison proc, let's say it proc now, you always want to go into leap straight, because after they got immobilized, right, usually they will try to dodge throw. While they are dodge rolling, you can just go into leap and break their dodge throw and just do shit ton of damage on them. However, if they are blocker, you always want to try to CC them first with your reverb. I know reverb is not a cheap skill to use. I think it's about 2.8k stamina. It's not a cheap skill to use, but you always want to reverb them, then only you go into lead. Mainly because you want to apply the defile and stun them, then only you go into lead to do the full damage into them. And if you want, you can always reverb, light attack, then only lead. So it depends on the cooldown of your enchantment. If your enchantment, you already know you procced it beforehand, during your, like, let's say you're applying your dots, you know your enchantment is already proc, then you can straight go into leap. But if you know that it haven't procced yet, then you want to go do light attack, then only go into leap. And you can use this add-on as well that shows your weapon damage. You can just see below my those what you call it, the buff bar, you can see the weapon damage. Now it's 3.2k. So yeah, one more last combo you can use is, usually you want to debuff your enemy, always want to debuff before you use your ultimate. You can just do a heavy attack, then go into lead. Mainly because after you use your heavy attack on the 2-hand bar, you receive the follow-up. You increase the damage of your lead by 10%, which is really nice. Yeah, so that's about it for the skills. Now to the CP. 15 Siphoner, 51 Warlord, 6 Bashing, 43 Mooncalf, 27 Tenacity, 33 Befile, 51 Tumbling, 44 Shadow Ward, 37 Blast, 6 Physical Weapon Expert, 13 Shattering Blows, 72 Master at Arms, 11 Thermochurch, Precise Strikes 51, 31 Piercing, 49 Mighty, 66 Ironclad, 32 Resistance, 37 Thick Skin, 49 Hardy, 43 Elemental Defender, 37 Quick Recovery, 6 Weapon Expert Defender, 15 Siphoner, 51 Warlord. Oh yeah, I just mentioned that already. Alright, so yeah, that's about it for the CP. Yeah, okay, I just wanted to double check. Yeah, so that's about it. There are a lot of ways you can see how you know your stuff are procced or not. Like if you see now, my sword is becoming green. Wait, it's not showing yet. My sword, I don't know why it's not showing. Anyways, the green stuff on my sword now is the proc from Two Fang Snake, and the red one, the orange red one on my hands is from Will Inheritance. So if you have add-ons like me now, you can see on my status effect, it's really easy to proc them. Two Fang Snake is almost basically 100% uptime. You see, Will Inheritance really procced. So yeah, that's why I feel like these two sets complement each other really well. But while you're going aggressive, even while you're defensive, you still can proc them, you still can maintain a really good uptime because of volatile armor return damage. That is really important. And since Noxious Breath is an AoE skill, you can apply multiple. Yeah, I need to mention as well how to use Noxious Breath. Totally forgot. Because Noxious Breath is actually quite a terrible skill, you know, because when sometimes you will miss really easily when especially when your opponent is moving a lot. So always while you're using Noxious Breath, you want to move back, mainly because it's a cone and it has a really long range. You can see it's a long range here, so you always want to move back while you're using Noxious Breath. So that is one of the tip I can tell you how to make sure you hit your Noxious Breath. And now it got nerfed as well for low momentum. It's only 4 seconds instead of 8 seconds for you to gain an immunity for immobilization and snares. So while during a hectic fight, you don't want to switch to your front bar and then break free from the roots or snares. You can just use wings on the back bar and then continue your pressure on. Depending on your stamina and your magicka. If your magicka is high, use wings. If your stamina is high, you can use forward momentum, depending on what situation you are. If you are already if you're going for the front bar debuff, then you can just go for forward momentum. But if you're applying damage on your back bar, you can just go wings. So that is how I like to make sure I have a good mobility while fighting my enemies. Okay, I think that's about it for this build. The gameplay video is already out. You should totally check that gameplay video out, because it will show you how I managed to fight multiple Nightblades, different classes basically in a outnumbered situation. It's gonna be a really nice video. So make sure you subscribe. If you like what you see, throw this video a like. That would be much appreciated, because it will help with the YouTube algorithm stuff. And I think that's about it. See you guys in this video. Okay, bye bye.